4-5. Damian Mitchell alongside Molly Robinson on this Tuesday morning. Welcome on in. Molly, it was a, let's just say this weekend was already pretty exciting as far as the transfer portal with all the names that we're getting here out of the state of Alabama, and it did not stop yesterday.
No, it did not. Let's just say we were definitely kept busy yesterday. We read a lot of rumors yesterday. And we also saw some Instagram posts yesterday involving some transfers. So, yeah, a lot to get into.
Absolutely. Let's start off with the University of Alabama. Who would have thought that, for the most of the day yesterday, we had, Auburn leading the way with Jackson Arnold, the quarterback from Oklahoma, announcing that he was going to be an Auburn Tiger. But Alabama was absolutely, I'm not going to say blindsided because at this point, it's kind of just the nature of the game. But we did start to hear rumors that defensive back from Clay Chalkville, somebody that we know here locally, Jalen Mbakwe, defensive back for the University of Alabama, was planning on hitting the portal, or we heard rumors about it. Well, he made it official yesterday. He, of course, when you have the graphic, that's when you know it's real. He announced that he was intended on hitting the transfer portal. So that's two defensive backs from this past season's team, and Devontae Smith, who announced that he would be going to Notre Dame after hitting the transfer portal yesterday. And now you add Jalen Mbakwe, who, if you kind of, read the press clippings a little bit, you start to hear some names. And Ole Miss is a school that you probably should look out for one Jalen Mbakwe, as he announced that he will be hitting the transfer portal. He says it was a business decision.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Mbakwe is 19 years old.
Apparently it was, a 7-figure offer, too, from elsewhere? I did hear rumors that they think it's from Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, exactly. So, at this point, it's just the nature of the game. Lane Kiffin, he knows it. He knows how he builds his team through the transfer portal, and now he's going into the University of Alabama, and all signs say that Jalen Mbakwe will be heading to Oxford, Mississippi to be an Ole Miss Rebel. Also, Emmanuel Henderson, receiver from Geneva County, is hitting the transfer portal as well for Alabama. He's got one more year of eligibility. And now when you look at, with them getting ready for the ReliaQuest Bowl, they're going to be very limited on some of the bodies that they have. Probably going to have a lot of guys that haven't really played much that's going to have to step up. But it starts the conversation of, one, who's in these guys' ear? Two, it's such a business now.
It truly is like free agency.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And you got guys that are getting ready for the college football playoffs, so some guys that we're going to be announcing here shortly that are hitting the transfer portal. Like you have a chance to win a national championship at the school that you're at, and yet you're hitting the transfer portal.
You want to leave, exactly.
It just doesn't make sense to me. As Ra Thomas, receiver from Georgia, announced that he will be hitting the transfer portal as well. Going back to Alabama, Jaheim Otis has found his landing spot, defensive lineman, 6'5", 320, a guy that, we expected to have kind of a bigger year than he did under Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack on the defensive side, but didn't really portray. It didn't really come to fruition on this side this season, as he announced that he will be going to Colorado to join Coach Prime and those boys up there in Boulder. But, for Alabama, it's one thing to have guys leave, but you're also not getting anything in return.
Well, see, that's been my biggest question so far is who have we really seen? I mean, we've seen a few visits from the Tide, but I feel like we've maybe seen one or two official commitments, and that's about it. So, and that's just the nature of college football now.
Mm-hmm.
Is every year there's going to be a max exodus from a lot of teams, people going to the portal, but at the same time, you gotta bring in some talent as well. Again, it's normal to lose people because it happens every year now, as we know. But you gotta overcompensate for that. You gotta bring somebody in that you feel like can be a good asset to the team. And
that's the thing about this transfer portal journey. It's name after name after name just continues to pop in, and it's kind of an ever rotating schedule. It's literally just a revolving door of guys going and coming. And I think that at some point you got to figure out, one, the window and how this affects teams that are, playing for bowl games. Think about Marshall, for example. They have so many guys that are injured or hitting the transfer portal. They can't even field a team for their bowl game.
It's sad.
It really is.
It's so sad.
And at some point, the NCAA or whoever the committee is needs to figure out how to kind of either elongate the window, say, hey, if you're playing for a playoff spot, of course, you know that you're not going to be able to just hop in as soon as the season's over, you're going to have to find a way to, at the end of you have like a 14-day window after you get done with your bowl game or you get done with the playoffs and your team gets out before you can hit. Because I think it's sad that somebody like a Ra Thomas would hit the portal when their team is playing for a chance to being a national title.
Yeah.
So I just think that at some point the NCAA has to regulate some of these things, but I just don't know. I think the Jalen Mbakwe news kind of it rubs me the wrong way because one, when he was committed to Alabama, he was all in. Like he was a big Alabama guy.
So he's from Clay Chalkville, isn't
exactly.
he? Yeah.
So he's a homegrown kid, and now that money's being involved and pretty much you shaking hands, kissing babies, you politicking a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're jumping ship, and I think that the fact that he said it was a business decision, it's like, okay, we get it. Somebody gave you some money. Somebody threw some money your way, and now you're making a decision based off of where you potentially could be.
And in case anybody missed it, this was from Charlie Potter, who is a frequent guest on JOX. He wrote this. He said, "We're hearing rumors that Jalen Mbakwe is going to enter the transfer portal." This was when the news first came out, and as of today, it feels very likely, which we know. And according to Charlie Potter, he says he received a 7-figure offer elsewhere. So this would be, like what you said, Damian, a business decision. It also sounds like he wants to be guaranteed a starting job, which might not be available at Alabama next season with Xavier Brown coming back and Damani Jackson looming NFL draft decision. So that's also kind of been, not only did he get the 7-figure offer, but the starting job potentially as well.
And that's another thing. To me, you're almost losing the point of the grind.
Right.
It's not handed
because
to
he was
you.
a freshman, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is part of your developmental process, man. Like I know you want to get on the field. I understand not being an impactful player early on, but you got chances when, again, Xavier Brown got hurt. You were literally right in.
Exactly.
And to me, one, it makes me question how truly tough that you are mentally and physically of, oh, you don't think you can beat the guy out that you're going to be competing against all season long, all spring, going into off-season camp, but you just want to be guaranteed a starting spot. Like, to me, you're forgetting the big picture of what it means to be a college athlete. It's not supposed to be just handed to you.
Bingo.
You have to earn it. You have to work towards it. And it just sets a bad precedent. But I get it, man. This is just the nature of the business because they always say, coaches can come and go. They sign contracts and they can, negate them, get that buyout, and they hit the door. But I think for players, you have to process it all from the jump. It's, all right, so you're telling me, if you're Jalen Mbakwe right now, you're telling me you don't think that you're talented enough that you could beat out Xavier Brown in the event that there's a corner spot open. And one, if you practice how you should play, make it hard for the coaches not to put you on the field.
Right.
Make the coaches make that decision of, man, we got to find a way to put 9 out there. We have to figure it out. Maybe a rotating guy like here and there, but wanting to be guaranteed a spot and also getting paid, you're forgetting the nature of what makes college football. And I think that's where it's
definitely lost its luster.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. But, and again, this is just the nature of the business. I ain't really mad at them because, hey, if somebody offered me 7 figures, it'd be hard to say no.
Well, and see, that's the thing too. When you really take a step back and look at it, like if I was a 19-year-old and someone was like, "Hey, I'll give you 7 figures if you come and join my team," I'd consider it.
Right.
I'd at least consider it. I mean, it's a lot of money for a 19-year-old.
Right. And it's just a lot of pressure. And I think the people in his ear, they're going to have to, they just got to pull him to the side and say, hey, big dog, maybe the grass isn't always greener. Because imagine the first game and he gets, burned on a go ball or something. It's going to be, well, that return on investment didn't look that good. So I just think that, I get it. Can't really blame him. And a lot of these guys that hit the transfer portal, they're just looking to, the grass is green on the other side to some of these guys, but it's only time will tell.
Is it always greener though?
No, it's not. As Zach Calzada when he made the jump from Texas A&M to Auburn,
right.
didn't take a single snap in an Auburn uniform. Goes to Incarnate Word, balls out, and now he's back in the transfer portal. Now he's back in the transfer portal. Yes, quarterback from Incarnate Word, Texas A&M, Auburn, wherever else. He has also entered the transfer portal. This is not a joke. Yes.
So I know we joke about how, or not even joke, it's a serious discussion, but how there should be a salary gap. God. Do you think that there should be a transfer portal gap?
There has
all
to.
right, after number 3, you got to stick it out.
Go get a job. Go to work. Go to work. Become a tax-paying citizen, big homie. Like, I mean,
But it's like when you're going to 4 different schools in 4 different years, it's like, how are you going to learn? How are you going to grow?
you
When You're
don't.
constantly learning like a new offense, a new system. It's I feel like there's not really any development there.
And also, if you're Zach Calzada, why don't you just stay at Incarnate Word and just shatter all of
Right.
Cam Ward's records? Just light them up. Just to
Yeah.
make the teams. To me, because if you want to go to the NFL, we've seen FCS guys make the jump to the NFL. We've seen Carson Wentz. I mean, Trey Lance is a terrible example. He only played 7 games, but still was a number 3 overall pick in the NFL draft.
I mean, obviously he's not really relevant anymore, but didn't Garoppolo play in the FCS?
Yeah, Eastern
exactly.
Illinois. Yeah, absolutely. Joe Flacco from Delaware. Like, there's been countless examples, especially at the quarterback position, of guys that make that jump. But I guess, hey, maybe he wants to get back into the SEC. Maybe he just needed a little pit stop down in Incarnate Word to see if he still had it. And obviously he does, which is good. But I just think that at some point you got to look at yourself in the mirror.
Yep.
You got to look yourself in the mirror. And speaking of the transfer portal, like you talk about the transfer portal cap, TJ Finley has made his decision.
I know, again.
TJ Finley has made his decision. He will now be attending Tulane, the former LSU, Auburn. Texas State, Western Kentucky quarterback will now be jumping ship and going back to Louisiana, but he will be the quarterback for the Tulane Green Wave.
5th school.
Number
5.
Yeah, enjoy yourself, TJ. You've had a fun ride.
I wish him the best, but
Exactly.
it's your 5th school.
But it's your 5th school, big dog. At some point, it has to click. But hey, listen, I think that, when it comes to these college kids making decisions, I mean, I can only imagine the decision. I know the decisions I was making at 18, 19 years old weren't always the smartest. And again, when somebody's offering me 7 figures, it would be hard to say no. So we want to get your reaction, 205-834-9450. Phone line, text line, always open here on Morning Josh, just discussing the transfer portal. We also have some guys that are announcing that they're going to the NFL draft and also how it impacts here in the state of Alabama, just moving forward. Also got some NFL action in Monday Night Football to get to. So all that and so much more. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. 6:16 here on Morning Jocks, Jocks 94.5, Damian Mitchell alongside Molly Robinson. Trying to make sense of this transfer portal thing. We're trying. We are trying. And of course, you are wonderful listeners. 205-834-9450. Your text messages, your calls are always welcome here on Morning Jocks. Lewis takes in, he says, so we can complain about it as much as we want, but when do we get a commissioner and keep this thing from happening? You get one transfer in 4 years. We're granting a bonus if your coach leaves, and you can have a graduate transfer. You can't play after that. It's not for you. I agree.
I don't hate that.
I don't hate that at all, because to me, and I get it. My only issue with some of the guys that have hit the portal, especially on the Alabama side of things, it's one, I'm surprised that the receiver position was hit as hard as it was because of the fact that Kalen DeBoer is an offensive guy. He's a former receiver himself. And receivers is more of it's quantity / quality, because to me, I think one, Caleb Odom, size-wise looks perfect. Kendrick Law, he may be limited in some things, but he's an impact guy. Kobe Prentice, I think he kind of peaked early and never really got better. So I can understand that room. But Emmanuel Henderson, they found ways to give him the ball this past season, maybe not at the clip that he wants. But there's always more receivers than there are quarterbacks on the field. So it's I understand Ryan Williams.
There's a happy medium between the two of them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of position players, and I get that. And then Jalen Mbakwe, the defensive back, hit the transfer portal. Even said this is a business decision. You look at Isaiah Bond a couple of years ago when he jumped ship to Texas. He was an impact guy at Alabama. And I understand Nick Saban leaves. That's the coach he wanted to play for. He retires. So I can understand that. But now I'm kind of looking at the Alabama Crimson Tide just room, because again, you're not bringing anybody in. Maybe Casey Concepcion from NC State. Maybe he's,
I know he did visit Alabama.
Right. Maybe some of those receivers
and
are
he
getting
posted on his Instagram of him wearing an Alabama shirt and everything. And even right after Mbakwe entered the portal, Ryan Williams posted on his Instagram story.
So I just
He said, bingo, I got action, and posted the picture of the two of them.
Oh, boy.
And a lot of people are speculating. I don't think I'd hit the panic button on Ryan Williams, though.
No.
A little cryptic, but that's just this day and age.
Yeah, I think his NIL is his checks have cleared.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
His checks have cleared. I think for sure he's going to be here. But again, this is just kind of the nature of the game of college football. Of course, some more guys have hit in the portal. Just keep your eye on that as we continue to move forward. But also had some guys that announced that they will be going to the NFL. Former Clemson, Oregon State, and Florida State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei has announced that he will be entering the NFL draft.
When I saw that, I just want everybody to know, when this news came out last night that DJU is entering the draft, I literally texted the graphic to Damien. So we have to talk about this tomorrow morning.
I think he may be better suited for the spring leagues. I think he's more UFL guy.
He needs to make a big jump because he got hurt in September, so we didn't see much from him. But what we did see wasn't exactly impressive.
No, he showed glimpses at Clemson, and
he did.
That was also 4 years ago.
And that was exactly when he was at Clemson and he was Trevor Lawrence's backup. He did show NFL potential, I thought. But it kind of feels like every year it's kind of just tapered off.
And that's why I'm kind of looking. If you're an NFL GM, you're looking at DJU. It's size-wise, he fits it.
He does, absolutely.
It's a great build, but
it's not getting critical moments.
When you look at the production numbers, it's
a
lot to be desired. Kind of gives me Will Levis vibes. gives me Will Levis.
Don't
vibes.
even get me started with the Titans.
Oh boy. But yeah, he announced that he will be going to the NFL draft. How about Oklahoma State 35-year-old quarterback Alec Bowman finally saying, you know what? I'm done with college after 7 years. Yeah, it's about time, brother. It's about time. Go, chase your dreams in the NFL. But I can't really be mad. You enjoyed your college time. I know this past season wasn't ideal for you. Had to deal with injuries there at Oklahoma State. Still having Mike Gundy as your head coach. I can understand. I can only imagine what it's like being there. But no, those two guys right there. Alec Bowman, again, he's old.
Right.
So, I mean.
He's older than me.
Yeah.
And I've been out of college for 2 years.
Exactly.
Almost 2 years.
And it's dog, at some point. At some point, it has to.
That's kind of how I feel about Cam Rising too.
And I know
He's
for
like
a
in
fact,
his 8th year.
He's 37 years old.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been at Utah forever, but I just think,
I will say I'll give him credit. He's stuck at he has been at Utah his entire career.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there for a while, and
Right.
congratulations. But again, sometimes you just want
It's okay to hang it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know it's tough, but just go to the NFL. Like there are guys that are in year 4 and 5 in the league. Like Trevor Lawrence has gotten a second contract, and y'all came in the same recruiting year. Like y'all came into college at the same time, and he's on his second contract in the NFL, and you're just now,
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, he's on his second contract in the NFL.
Man.
I'm telling you, man. I think that I enjoyed college football. I know I played at Division III level. It was fun. Had a great time. Got some great teammates. But I think these guys, again, it's hard to process that, hey, if somebody offers me 7 figures at 18, 19, 20 years old, it's hard to say no. I get it.
Oh, especially at that age? Absolutely.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, it'd be something different. If you're like Dylan Lonergan, for example, where you look at that quarterback room, you kind of realize, might not be a starter here. Hit the portal.
And that I understand.
Yeah, like go to either FCS. You can go to, G5 school. I understand that you think your talents are there at the Power 4, but I think that you have to start to read the room. Just like Walker White, for example, for Auburn.
I was just about to bring him up.
It's okay. Everybody in this room is gone. You're bringing in Deuce Knight. You've openly said that you're going to go into the portal and grab guys. So you get Ashton Daniels from Stanford, who we won't talk about Will Levis. Ugh. And then you have Jackson Arnold, who comes in from Oklahoma, and you kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs of, okay, y'all just don't really rock with me.
Like, where do I fit in here?
Exactly. You kind of look at yourself like, okay, well, everybody in this room has changed.
And see, that I understand.
Right. And I can't really fault him for it. But I think if you're, these guys that have been playing and you've gotten the chance, maybe you just don't gel well with the coach. Could be money. I just think that these young guys, like, it's not always, the grass isn't always green on the other side.
No, it's not.
We've seen countless examples of guys that go and transfer and they get buried. And it's like, oh man, I forgot he even hit the transfer portal. Forgot he was even there. Or you have less success than you did at the school that you were at.
But then you also have the flip where you have a guy like Cam Ward, who we know came from Incarnate Word, then jumped all the way to the FBS, go to Wazoo, and now he's been killing it in Miami. Or even like a Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he started his career at UCF before they were even in the Power 4, and now he's about to potentially lead Oregon. I mean, they're the last undefeated team in the country, potentially about to lead them to a national championship. So I definitely think it goes both ways, but you're right. The grass, it isn't always greener. At
all. Matt texts in and says, Molly hit on a big thing that worried me. Like that old commercial, 99% of them will go in pro in something other than sports. With all these transfers, are these kids still getting the education and connections that are going to help them in the real world? I'm worried that they will regret never planting roots where their feet are. I agree with that 100%.
Forgetting the big picture.
Exactly. Because there's no, again, we know how college athletes are. Cardale Jones made it very simple. We ain't come here to play school. We came here to play ball. And I get it. And with all of these jumping around, different schools, different, how much eligibility you still have left. COVID really threw a lot of wrenches into it too, because they pretty much said you can play this year for free. Like, it's not going to count against you. You can continue to move forward. And a lot of these guys kind of, took it and ran with it, which I can't really knock them for it.
No.
But I just think that your development is going to be thrown off because you're getting it from so many different coaches and so many different systems, so many different schemes.
Like, who even are you at that point when you have just I don't even know how to describe it.
That's the best way to put it is, who are you as a player when you make all of these jumps? Because especially at the quarterback position, if you're TJ Finley, you've taken Auburn to a 4 overtime Iron Bowl before.
Yeah.
And then you're at Texas State, you put up some good numbers, you go to Western Kentucky and you get benched, and now you're hitting the transfer portal again. You're running from the grind. And I think that's what really kind of like rubs me the wrong way of just like, man, if you stick it out, you never know what door could potentially open for you wherever you are. Just be coach. I had a receiver coach, Coach Pierce used to tell me all the time, just be where your feet are. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about the outside noise. Whatever you are, wherever you are, be locked in, be grounded, put your feet down in the grass, and just truly embrace where you are. And I think for a lot of these guys, it's either their pride is in the way and they can't look themselves in the mirror like, man, I should be starting. I should be out there. I should be playing. But sometimes you just have to accept the fact that, maybe I'm just not there yet.
Well, and there's going to be challenges. You know, we've all
Exactly.
heard the quote, pressure is a privilege.
Yep.
And you are truly lucky to be in the position that you are, I think.
Yeah. Somebody else saying, can we really blame a kid for jumping ship when he's offered life-changing money? You're not guaranteed to make the NFL, so doesn't it seem right to take it when you can? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like we were saying, like if we were 19, 18 and we were offered a decent amount of money, we would take it.
I mean, it'd be hard for me. Again,
it'd be hard for me to say no.
It'd be hard for me to say no. Cody texts in and says, what pisses me off about the whole situation is the fact of tampering and the timing of when they are forced to transfer. That I do agree with. But the thing about tampering, I'm not going to say everybody in America does it, but
I feel like it's a lot more common than people think.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you don't usually use.
I mean, look at the Caden Proctor situation last year. Yeah.
You don't usually lose these coaches' numbers when they texting you, they hitting you up, you say, hey, good game or something like that.
Right.
You know, like can't necessarily prove it, but you know,
it happens.
If y'all want to get lawyers involved, we'll find a way to stop it. I promise you that. Once lawyers and the judicial system starts getting involved, oh yeah, they'll find a way to regulate it. Yeah. But I just think that where we are in a transfer portal era, we're giving them an automatic cop out. And I just think that for developmental purposes, it's very misleading to a lot of these guys. And I don't know. I don't know. And I think that sometimes just being where you are and just grinding it out, you'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate the journey a little bit more. Because think about if you're an NFL GM and you're looking at a guy, you're evaluating him, it's like, okay, what didn't work if you're evaluating TJ Finley, what didn't work at Auburn? What didn't work at LSU? What didn't work at Texas State? What didn't work at Western Kentucky? At some point, you didn't work out.
There's one common factor.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like the teams didn't change. You did. Yeah. You jumped out. You went to this place. And I don't know. Maybe these guys are they built different. But like you said, you're offered that much money to go to a different team and all these NIL collectives and things like that. Can't really knock them, but it is what it is. We did have some action in football last night on the NFL landscape. We had 2 Monday Night Football games. They weren't bad, but the teams kind of involved.
We've seen better.
Right. It's kind of
the Raiders are just so hard for me to watch.
God,
truly.
They don't look organized
at all.
Yeah, Desmond Ridder got a chance to play against his old team in the Atlanta Falcons last night as the Las Vegas Raiders fall to the Atlanta Falcons 15-9. And Kirk Cousins did throw a touchdown pass, the first one in I think 10 quarters. But he did get that monkey off his back as Atlanta still keeps, afloat in the NFC South. Mm-hmm. In the NFC North battle, Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears fall 30-12 to the Minnesota Vikings. And Caleb Williams is going through some rookie growing pains.
He is. And it's tough because he has the talent around him. I feel like he doesn't really have the protection that he needs to be a successful quarterback. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing for the Bears in this offseason. It's because, he has plenty of talent around him. And I don't think Caleb Williams is a bad quarterback. He needs some extra help.
Yeah. And, I mean, Justin Fields is running for his life in Chicago for, 3 years? And you see, it didn't matter what quarterback you got back there. No. If you can't keep them upright, it's going to be tough.
And I feel like we're kind of starting to see the same thing a little bit with Caleb Williams, too.
Yes, absolutely. And, again, he's just a rookie. So he's just getting thrown right into the fire. You're the number 1 overall pick. Mm-hmm. Help us win.
I do think the future is bright, though.
Yeah, for sure. The talent's definitely there. One thing I will say about Caleb Williams, for as quirky as he is and some of the things he said and how he went about his NFL draft thing, the talent is always there.
Absolutely.
He has to realize you're in the NFL now. So a lot of these things in the pocket, as far as pocket awareness, being, spinning around when, defensive linemen with mortgages on their heads and they're not hitting to just, wake you up and say, hey, welcome to the league, rookie. Nah, they are trying to put you 6 feet under if they can, legally. But I do think that his talent level is definitely there. Roma Dunze with a couple catches. Keenan, I think that receiver room is very undervalued because of DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, even Cole Kmet at tight end. Their pieces are there.
Right.
One, you're in a tough division with Minnesota, Green Bay,
NFC
and
North
Detroit. Oh, it's brutal.
Stacked this year.
It's brutal.
But hey, as a Lions fan, I'm here for it.
We'll take it.
This is the best season we've had ever.
Right. So I think that for Caleb Williams to get through this rookie year, You don't have to worry about going to the playoffs because you're
Mm-mm.
already eliminated, but you'll learn quickly. Like, man, the NFL is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. So that's some action there in the NFL. We'll continue with your text message, your calls on the other side, 205-834-9450, trying to make sense of this transfer portal window. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Where these guys are going to go. Some of these guys have made some decisions on where they're going in the transfer portal. We'll keep that going on the other side. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. .636 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Molly Robinson here with you to the top of the hour. It's pass off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning because we're trying to make sense of this transfer portal as we got some names from the University of Alabama that have hit the transfer portal. Crazy thing is nobody's coming in. Well, they got a punter. Where's he from? Oh shoot,
Isn't he Australian?
Australia. Yeah, he's Australian.
Crikey.
So you know, maybe the return on investment doesn't look as good as it once did. But we do have some names for the University of Alabama that have announced that they will hit in the transfer portal, with Jalen Mbakwe being the biggest one, saying it was a business decision. Can't be mad at that. You know, handle your business, big dog. Go get that paper, I guess. But all signs are saying that he potentially could be at Ole Miss. But I think when you look at the transfer portal, also Emmanuel Henderson, receiver from Geneva County, also announced that he will be hitting the transfer portal as well. But when we had this conversation a couple days ago with some of the names that were hitting it, it was, okay, well, this could be a snowball effect. We didn't know to what degree, but now we're starting to see a lot of these guys announce where they're going. Kendrick Law has a visit with Florida State later on today. I would be careful if you are going to Florida State and you're from the University of Alabama, because if you look at what happened this past season for a lot of these guys that transferred from Alabama to Florida State, did not go
They've gotten
well.
quite a few guys from Nebraska as well. They took our defensive coordinator and I think one of our line coaches too. So a lot of fun.
A lot.
Have fun in Tallahassee.
Enjoy it. And now with Gus Malzahn, your offensive coordinator,
good luck.
Expect a lot of blocking there as receiver. But, you know, hey, you might get 3 targets, you might get 1. But, by God, it might be an 80-yard touchdown, but enjoy it.
I was just thinking, and I don't mean to put you on the spot because, well, like, I don't know the number.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the number that have already entered the transfer portal as of today? Because I know it keeps on changing, but I didn't know if you had the most recent number.
I don't.
And where it compares to last season.
That is a good question. I do not.
Again, I did not mean to totally just put you on the spot.
No. You're fine. You're fine. Also, complete sidebar. Romello Height hit the transfer portal again. If you are an Auburn fan, that name does sound familiar because he went from Auburn to USC, from USC to Georgia Tech, and now he's predicted to go to Texas Tech.
So fourth school.
Fourth school.
For another athlete. Wow.
I'm not even gonna do it.
How does it end?
Not even gonna worry about it. But 205-834-9450. Your text messages, your calls are always welcome. Somebody texts in and says, as an Alabama fan, I'm not happy with the portal. You're losing 14 players and all your rivals are picking them up. Yeah.
Yeah, I would not be a fan of that either.
Yeah, Kyle texts in and says, hate these monetary guarantees. I'm fine with paying players, but it needs to be earned. What if they move to a pay per game basis where your pay is based on your grade? If you get paid up to your contract, as long as you perform, of course, you have caveats for injuries. Yeah, because
I could see that working, but I could also see that kind of blowing up in everybody's faces.
Right, because like in the NFL, you have guaranteed contracts, so whether you get hurt or not, your money's there, your money's good. I don't know. I don't know. I just find it so puzzling because on the monetary side of things, you're asking, all these NIL collectors to pull, donate, give us money. And then on the field, if it doesn't live up to expectations, you kind of just sitting there like, oh, sorry, my fault.
My fault.
Yeah, my fault,
Might
y'all.
be.
Yeah, and I think and you look at, we had a conversation on Mac and Cube yesterday about Ole Miss and how Lane is pretty much just saying, we'll attack the transfer portal. We'll get as many guys as we possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, that well is going to run out. I say it does, but if you continue to only, make it to the outside looking in instead of the college football playoff,
questions are going to be right.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it ramps up the pressure.
Because even for this year for Ole Miss, I thought it was playoff or bust. Like, that should have been bare minimum. And then, obviously, they lose to Kentucky, and you're like, all right, path is still there.
Yep.
But then, you go in and beat Georgia, and you're like, all right, again, path is clearly there now. But then you lose to Florida.
Yeah. Like you just you're continuing to find ways to lose ball games instead of win them when you have the better team on the field. Like now it's like, well, we have the players and you still don't get the job done. So where?
And they lost to LSU too. I just remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and that loss looks a lot worse than it did.
It did not age well, to say the least. Steven takes in and says, why don't you just get the money from this NIL deal, but you have to stay at the school for at least 2 years? I mean, at some point we have to define whether they are professional or they amateurs, because I know with the school involved and the educational process, it has to play its course. But I think that if we're making contracts with these guys, I mean, we look at it from the coaching perspective. Can you, quote unquote, buy a player out and say, hey, you can go hit the transfer portal because you didn't live up to your NIL deals? Do you get cut? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what we can do. 205-834-9450. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's talk to Don this morning. How we feeling this morning, Don?
Oh, feeling great this morning, guys. How's everybody doing today?
Hey, no complaints this way, brother.
Hey, I got my ugly sweater on, day ready to come to social taco today and see everybody. It's gonna be a good day.
You good, big dog? Everything all right?
Yeah, I got a little cold.
Okay.
Sorry about that, but yeah, I wake up this morning and we're number one in the transport portal ranking, Steve. So good news. But I got a question for you. Got a little quarterback comparison that I was thinking about yesterday for you and Monty both. Jackson Arnold kind of reminds me a little bit about I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Bo Nix, but reminds me of Bo Nix because he can.
The Auburn version or the Oregon version?
Unfortunately, the Auburn version. Okay.
Yeah, you said it.
I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid. Okay.
Okay. Auburn went 6-7 with Bo Nix now.
No, we didn't. Well, okay. But he got hurt though, Damien, and we lost 4 in a row after he got hurt that year. But you got to remember his freshman year. How good did he do his freshman year?
Okay.
He beat Alabama.
I would take Bo Nix all over again, but I'm telling you. I mean the kid. I mean, I'm happy for the kid. He's doing great in the NFL. Got the Denver Broncos, and
he was an Oregon Duck though.
Well, yes, he had his moments with Oregon. I will agree with you on that. Yes, sir. But anyway, we got a couple of more good. We got 3 more good ones yesterday, so we got 7 now. And what I'm hearing through Steve Wilfong and then Jay Lee was on the 3-man front yesterday. I think we got about 6 or 7 more we're going to get.
There we go.
So yeah. But what do you think about the quarterback we got last night for Stanford? He's going to be a backup quarterback.
I think he's trash, but.
That was the remark I was expecting from you, my friend.
Hey, I mean, if there's anybody who can fix a quarterback, it'd be Hugh Freeze. He did it with Peyton Thorne, allegedly.
Oh, Lord, you love picking on me, don't you?
It's just Peyton Thorne. It's mostly Peyton
well,
Thorne.
yeah, no, hey, I can't. I'm not going to say anything about it, okay? But hey, me and you've been having fun with that for the last year, and I still owe you that. You and Conrad both that bet. So if you come today, you're gonna be getting traded to do a lot of stuff, my brother.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Well, guys, hope to see everybody out there today. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely,
Thank
we
you,
appreciate you, Don. Yeah, I mean Jackson Arnold. That's why I say I think Jackson Arnold, talent wise, is good. I don't know.
I'm just laughing at which Bo Nix.
Right. Yeah. Please be specific on which Bo Nix you talked about. Now, if you are talking about the Auburn version of Bo Nix, all right, cool. That means the floor is like 7-5. Okay, cool. If that's going to keep Hugh Freeze's job, so be it. Now, if you get the Oregon version of Bo Nix, okay, I'd be pretty happy.
I would too.
And that's why I feel about Jackson Arnold. I think it was more mental than it was truly physical for him at Oklahoma, at least this past season.
And he's young too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think like the developmental process could be. And also, I mean, he didn't have all of his receivers that were healthy this past year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did get benched for Michael Hawkins, and
there was a lot going on with the OU program kind of as a whole, like some outside things too. So a lot of it wasn't necessarily all his fault.
Right.
You can't put it all on him.
And maybe the change of scenery is what he needs. Now, it's the ramped up pressure for Hugh Freeze and Auburn that they have to, like, as soon as Jackson Arnold announced that he was going to Auburn, I tweeted out, like, this has to work. It has to work. This isn't one of those.
Now or never.
It really is. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the pressure that a lot of these, Auburn fans are having. It's, okay, well, if we can suffer through 2 years of Peyton Thorne and some of the decision-making of him as a quarterback, you can feel optimistic about Jackson Arnold. It's just, okay, what if he has some of those Peyton Thorne type mistakes? Are you still going to give him that grace period, or are you going to just, hey, pull the plug, put Deuce Knight in, or put Ashton Daniels in? I'm my honest opinion about Ashton Daniels. I just don't think he's that good. He wasn't good at Stanford, and again, I understand that quality of competition and some of the players they had to play with probably didn't help. But when I watch him play, he just doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to help Auburn get over that hump. I just don't believe that, but. Who knows, man? I've been wrong about quarterbacks before. I was believing in Will Levis at the beginning of the season, and
me and you both.
Yeah, and then we saw Mason Rudolph take snaps on Sunday. But hey, it is what it is. We speak of positive. We speak the positive vibes here on Morning Jobs. We keep the conversation going. Your text message, your calls continue to come on in 205-834-9450. Keep it locked right here on JOX 94.5. 6:51 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Molly Wood Robinson here for a few more moments as we get you set from McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Just going to give you the Ashton Daniels numbers during his time at Stanford in 2023. 12 games played. He started 10 of them. They were 2-8 in those games. 191 for 325, 58.8 percentage. Passing, 2,247 yards, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So, turning the ball over is something that's a recurring theme for him because in 2024, in 10 games that he started, they were 3-7. He improved his completion percentage from 58.8 to 62.7.
There we go.
Had 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. You just take that information however you want. Let's go to Melvin on the phone lines who wants to talk some Porter with us. What's going on this morning, Melvin?
Good morning, Molly and Damian. Enjoy y'all every day, man. Y'all make my day.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
I was wanting to know from you and Molly, want y'all opinion on this. I'm an Auburn fan, but
Me too.
If you don't put any parameters, if you don't put any boundaries on things, it's doomed to just go chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always thought that. But I've heard people say, hey, let's get a commissioner. I think it's actually smart. And the best person could be Nick Saban.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think he knows the game. He loves the game, and he was still loving it before he ever retired. And just wanted to know what y'all thought about him being a commissioner.
Man, we appreciate you, Melvin. Yeah, I think Nick Saban would be ideal, and he's going to shoot it to him straight. Like, this is
right.
He would look at it from every single aspect
no
of it.
No sugarcoating at all.
At all. And I think he would, just him as a leader would find a way to try to find some sort of regulation on it. But I think that...
Would he do it, though?
Exactly. Like, I think he's enjoying TV because I don't know if he wants to have the hustle and bustle and the stress of, 17 to 22-year-olds again. Like, he left that for a reason.
Also, he is technically still employed by the University of Alabama.
Right.
So
I
do think he would be great at it, though. I just don't know if he would do it. And I will say, I loved watching him on game day. I thought he was phenomenal on TV.
Especially when he slips up and forgets he had a hot mic and he says what's on his mind. He's like, "Whoa, coach, hey, whoa. You ain't on the field, big dog. Got to clean up that language. Kids are watching. Kids are watching." But I don't know, when they went to LSU and they played Nick out loud, and I was like, "Woo, okay, this is where we're going."
It's fun though.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. But I do think that Nick Saban, as far as anything with him in a leadership role, yes, I'm locked in on it because one thing I know he can do is win and figure things out. Let's go to a couple more text messages, rapid fire here. Richard from Hoover texts in. He says, "If Jackson Arnold isn't better than Bo Nix, then Hugh might as well start packing today."
That we've talked about that a lot on 3-Man front. Is what's the floor for Auburn? Like what? How is he safe? How is Hugh Freeze safe? We said at least 7-5.
Has to.
At least.
Has to.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to be competitive in those 5 losses too. Like they can't get blown out. But hey, who knows? Sam texts in. He says Don says he has an ugly sweater ready, so he's wearing an Auburn shirt.
There it is.
Dang, I'm wearing an Auburn shirt. Oh, my fault.
Yeah, you said you're an Auburn fan?
Yeah, I was. I was. It just depends on the day. Believe it or not, I have a Georgia shirt on under this.
Oh.
So, hey, when you stay ready, you never have to get ready. I'm an equal opportunity hater, baby. McElroy and Kublik in the morning. They're next.